Cashflow Diary Podcast, episode 229.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast, the podcast that teaches you insider tips, tactics, and strategies for creating leverage streams of cash flow into your life. Learn from top-performing entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, and thought leaders from across the globe as they share their secrets to success. Like what you learn on this and other Cashflow Diary podcast episodes? Go to learninvestingnow.com and sign up to receive powerful tips and information that will help you succeed as an entrepreneur and investor. Now, here's your host, investor, entrepreneur, business owner, educator, speaker, author, and master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game, Jay Massey.
Good morning. If you're out there on your way to work or walking the dog, or I don't know what you guys do when you listen, I just wanted to say welcome. My name is Jay. Glad that you are here. Here's what we've been doing. I don't know if you probably noticed. We're going around and finding some of the interviews that I've done in other places and also sharing them with you because maybe you didn't hear it. And I wanted to make sure that they start to get collected into one little spot. And more importantly, you guys hear it too. Because I think occasionally, because this happened, here's what happened. One of the members inside of our Facebook group simply mentioned, he's like, because he makes it a habit to find me wherever I might be. And when he said, no matter how many times I listen, I keep learning something new. And I don't know why that is. I don't know what that means specifically. And maybe I'm just saying things in a completely different way sometimes that help people get stuff done. I mean, recently at one of the events, there was a guy who wrote us a few days later, just letting us know that, he was able to make some progress on his deals, on his business. And just from, listening to what I had to say there. And occasionally you never know where you're going to hear that thing that might get you unstuck. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you another opportunity to hear this particular interview that was done with John Lee Dumas. Here you go.
Entrepreneur on Fire 1034.
There is greatness inside of you. You haven't given it a shot. Today is the day. Make it happen.
Hey, Fire Nation, and welcome to Entrepreneur on Fire, where I chat with amazing entrepreneurs 7 days a week. Are you ready to rock your own webinar? Visit thewebinarcourse.com and sign up for our free 10-day webinar course today. Ignite. Looking for a website host that provides 24/7 live support, one-click WordPress installs, and an easy-to-use website builder? Get started at HostGator.com by using promo code FIRE and the number 30. If you want 100% satisfaction guarantee, then go to LegalZoom.com today. Since they're not a law firm, you can get advice from LegalZoom's network of independent attorneys in most states. LegalZoom.com, promo code FIRE. Entrepreneurs, near and far, John Lee Dumas here, and I am fired up to bring you our featured guest today, Jay Massey. Jay, are you prepared to ignite?
Yes.
Yes. Jay wasn't always the real estate investor, published author, and entrepreneur that he is today. His road was paved with challenges he had to overcome. Jay literally went from having zero, squatting in bank-owned property, to owning more than 300 units of property across several states. All right, Jay, take a minute. Fill in some blanks from that intro and give us a little glimpse into your personal life.
Sure. And I'm glad to be here. Yes. But most importantly, I am glad for those that are listening, because there's something in this message I know that I hope you hear. At the end of the day, your story's not over. Neither was mine. I was a financial planner and insurance guy for a number of years. And my wife, we had experienced a miscarriage is basically what happened. And then when she gets pregnant, we got pregnant again. That was, yay, exciting. But she developed a condition known as hyperemesis. And most people have no clue what it is unless you're in the medical profession or you had it yourself. It simply means she couldn't eat or drink while pregnant. Now, that pregnancy in and of itself is stressful. With that added, I was even more stressed. So I went to go play volleyball to blow off some steam, jumped, landed on a guy's head, punctured my lung. I was born with asthma and developed a complication with where I had a hole in my lung and I could not walk and talk simultaneously without fainting. So that was literally really close together. Many people think it's over a long period of time. No, this happened like one after the other. So I can't work. All of this stuff was going on. We started squatting in bank-owned property, as you said, selling our personal possessions on eBay. That's how we were trying to live. And I didn't wake up one day and say, hey, I can't wait to be a real estate investor. That was not the idea. A friend said, hey, I got a solution for you. You should become a real estate investor. I'm like, dude, I got a credit score of 398. I can barely put $75 together. And you realize we're about to get kicked out of our own place and you want me to provide housing for other people. He's like, yeah. Okay, what you got? At some point you just go with it. That's what happened. And I started learning techniques and that we still use today to be able to buy houses using none of our own money or credit. I'm literally that guy when you are up late at night and they say you can buy houses with no money or credit. I'm that guy that does that over and over again. And that's how we started. We did about 200 deals that way. Then I started learning, hey, I'd like to keep some of these instead of giving them away, so to speak. And that's what we started doing. I learned to raise private capital. In fact, to date, we've raised tens of millions of dollars. I've done hundreds of transactions, and I still have never used, to this moment, a traditional bank of any kind in any of our transactions. And that's literally how we do business across, many different states and internationally now. And we've got a number of investors from many different countries, and it's pretty darned exciting to be able to create jobs and clean, safe, affordable housing for people in a time when people need it.
Wow. Well, this story, Fire Nation, you can see why I brought Jay on. I mean, it's inspiring just even at that part. And Jay, not to get off topic or get too far in the weeds here, but just real quick, because I'm just a little curious here. Now, when you can't eat or drink during pregnancy, what is the way that your wife was consuming nutrients? How do they do that?
Yeah. I still call it an oil, lube, and filter change because I can't remember the technical term and it was far too long, but she was literally hooked up to all kinds of machines. So I was sitting in the hospital next to her. Trying to sell our stuff on eBay because you can't exactly invite a client over to do their financial plan at your wife's bedside. Right. So that's literally what we were doing while they were poking in needles and all that stuff. And I was on the edge of my seat because I knew at any moment, she almost died a few times during this process. And I knew I was literally just so stressed. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where any phone call could be the phone call of your wife's dead. It's like, so every time the phone rang for 9 months, I am under deep duress. It's just,
I think my mother could resonate with you actually, because I did 13 months in Iraq and that was just her thought. Every time the phone rang, she thought it was for me. And but man, that's intense. And I guess it's pretty safe to say that, before modern medicine, I mean, your wife would not be alive today.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, at the time, there were only 2 hospitals in the United States that had a treatment for her. And some call it fate. I call it God. We just happened to live down the street from one of the 2 that are in the U.S.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's amazing in and of itself. That could be a whole podcast episode. Thank you for sharing that. But Jay, to get back on track, you're at a networking party now today here in 2015. Someone walks up to you and they say, what exactly do you do? How do you respond in 10 seconds?
I respond by saying, I help busy and successful entrepreneurs and employees as well, how to learn how to pay less in taxes, build wealth so that they can invest, more time with their faith, family, and business.
Okay. I want to do all those things. So cool. Now, Jay, let's do this. Now, you've told us kind of an overarching view of your business, but let's get down to brass tacks. Just give us a couple really specific ways that you are currently generating revenue.
Well, it's simple. We buy apartment buildings. We buy cash flowing assets. That's what we do. We'll syndicate the deal. We'll buy cash flowing assets. For example, we have a cell phone tower. Any of you listening on a T-Mobile device, thank you. Pay your bill, because that cell phone tower is one of the ways. T-Mobile's the tenant, right? So that's one of the ways that we generate income. It's not super fancy. It's just apartment buildings, cell phone towers, commercial real estate. Those are the things that we use and leverage to generate passive income. So if we're not doing that, the other thing that I'm very excited about is that we've begun teaching people to raise their own capital, get their own deal started, and make that happen as well. That's it.
Love it. Love it. Cool. Appreciate that. And Jay, you told us of what a lot of people would consider maybe their worst life moment, being next to your wife, her, close to passing, and that's tough. But let's break it down for your worst entrepreneurial business moment. So really take us to that time when, on the business side, that specific deal or whatever that might be. What is that story? Take us there and share.
Sure. One of in thinking about this, there's two really big ones, and I'm not sure which one is worse. But the first one that comes to mind is I had an opportunity. So before that story that I just told you happened, a friend had come to me and said, hey, I want to do real estate investing. And I was the financial planner. Everything was fine. I didn't have a reason to change, so I passed on the opportunity. He went on to earn a little over, I think it was like $1.2 million, et cetera. A significant portion of that could have been ours, and we would have averted what eventually happened. I did not take that opportunity, and that cost us a lot of money. And in retrospect, I'm just like, oh my gosh, that would have been awesome to have been there. The other thing is, I can remember not too long ago, well, it feels like it was yesterday sometimes, but we had an issue inside one of our companies where our property manager and contractor and a whole bunch of things was able to embezzle a little over $800,000. And that was a really, 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 really bad moment, uncovering all of those things and figuring out how to deal with and respond to and fix and recover from all of that.
Okay, so you passed on a 7-figure opportunity. You basically had 7 figures just under embezzled from you. So
yes.
Fire Nation, Jay, he's had his back against the wall more than one time. He's had some tough times. He's had some struggles, some obstacles, some challenges. But guess what? You can hear it in his voice too. Like, he kept going back to faith. He kept going back to listen, I still have my 2 hands, my head, my heart. I'm still going to drive forward. And here he is, on Entrepreneur on Fire here today. So that's my biggest lesson, is just that, perseverance, persistence. We're all going to have dark times in the past, in the present, and in the future. Is how we react to those times. Yep. That's what makes the entrepreneur. And Jay, what do you want to share with Fire Nation for your one takeaway? Break it down in about a sentence.
At the end of the day, you don't know what you're made of. Without there being a Goliath, there is no King David. You need every one of those challenges in order to eventually become great.
Wow, I love that. And as my friend Aaron Walker, 2-time EO Fire guest, would say, iron sharpens iron. So really powerful stuff to think about, Fire Nation. Now, Jay, let's shift and let's talk about another moment in your life. This one's going to be an aha moment, an epiphany, a light bulb that actually went on. So take us to the ground level on that story. Take us to that moment in time. Tell us that story.
Got it. And again, there's 2 big ones that are they were just transformational for me. The first happened at a networking event. I was just doing my real estate thing, wasn't really trying to teach or share much of anything at that time. And a guy walks up to me, and this is exactly how a lot of stuff got started that we do today. He walks up to me, and I kid you not, he says, hey, will you teach me everything you know? That was the entire thing. And I'm just like, sure, but it's going to cost you a lot of money. And then I made up a number that I thought was so ridiculous he would never pay it. And I also made a promise. I said, God, okay, here's what I'm going to do. If he pays it and the check clears, I'm going to devote a significant portion of my life and time to sharing. I'm going to just take that as a hint. You want me to share what I know with everybody. And I have the check cleared, and here we are. So
real quick, what was the number?
$35,000.
Whoa. Okay.
I did not think, I thought he was going to say no. Now, I've since learned that what is in my head and the skill sets that we have available are worth significantly more than that.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
And that's what's great, and we've got a number of clients who are now paying significantly more than that, to be able to go out there and generate revenue and create their own businesses, etc. But the other really big moment was on the back end of that embezzlement that I was telling you about. I learned the nature of my team and what leadership was all about. I had no idea. I mean, you fortunately had the experience of having that camaraderie in the service of knowing that somebody, quote unquote, had your back, period. Most civilians don't get that experience, and this was mine. And my team came together in such a way that we are now stronger, we are better, we are faster. It is so much, it's just completely night and day to understand that. But to actually feel and know that I don't have to look over my shoulder, I just know they're there, is awesome. But I wouldn't have known that without having gone through it.
Man. So what I'm taking away from this, Fire Nation, and this is a Jay Abraham quote that I'm going to add on to the end because I believe it's true, and I think Jay really proves the point too, is that when you can define the problem better than your client can, they assume that you know the answer and will pay you anything. And Jay proved that with a $35,000 check in his hand. And now, again, that number has, multiplied X, because of what he does every single day. And those were the two stories. And that was my biggest takeaway from those two stories. What is the one lesson that you want to make sure our listeners take away?
I would say what it comes down to is start before you're ready and move at the speed of instruction. You're not going to ever be perfectly ready, and that's okay. I would rather you take imperfect action and I'd rather you take perfect action on imperfect information than wait for you to have perfect information trying to take imperfect action, because your action is not going to be perfect anyway. So start, get the feedback, get in the feedback loop, make the mistake, fail fast, fail forward, fail frequently.
Move at the speed of instruction. I love that, Jay. Thanks for breaking that down. And we're going to move into the fire round. So take a couple minutes, maybe 30 seconds each. First one being, what's your biggest weakness as an entrepreneur?
That one's easy. My team's telling me all the time, Jay, you try to do too much. Period. I am trying to do, and by that, they mean too much myself, not relying upon more of their own strengths and letting them do what they do. I still try to do too much.
What's your biggest strength?
Implementation. There is no better implementer, action taker on the planet.
Wow.
Period.
Bold statement. I love it. I actually personally love speed of implementation, when someone can come up with that idea and make it happen quickly. And again, getting back to that, hey, because if it's going to fail, let's fail fast. Let's fail forward.
Yeah, I want to know now.
Yeah, not like next month. Come on now.
Absolutely.
Jay, you have a lot of awesome things going on, my man. But what's the one thing that has you most fired up today?
At this moment, I'm fired up about our Cashflow Diary community, to be honest, because we've been able to transfer the information in such a way that we've been able to retire 3 people who no longer need their full-time job in the last 12 months. And I'm just like, yes. That's cool. Let's keep doing that. Let's keep creating the creative entrepreneurs that are needed to continue to build jobs and clean, safe, affordable housing and make that thing happen.
And is that at cashflowdiary.com?
Yes.
Booyah. Fire Nation, we're about to enter the lightning rounds. But before we do, let's take a minute to thank our sponsors. Do you want the government to decide what happens to your property and minor children? If not, make the commitment to protect your family today. It's National Make-A-Will Month at LegalZoom.com, and doing the right thing has never been easier. They've created a better way for you and your spouse to take control of your family's future. Check out LegalZoom's new Last Will and Living Trust bundles. The more you plan ahead with wills, trusts, and powers of attorney, the more you save. Even if you're confused about all the options, don't let that hold you back. You can use their online resources and estate planning tools to help you figure out what you need, or get more specific guidance from LegalZoom's network of independent attorneys in most states, since they're not a law firm. Don't procrastinate when it comes to protecting your family. Get legal help you can count on at LegalZoom.com today. Don't forget to enter FIRE in the referral box at checkout to save even more. That's LegalZoom.com, promo code FIRE. LegalZoom.com. I don't need to tell you about the importance of growing your online presence because you already know the key to growing any business successfully is having one. And it all starts with your home base, your website. But there are a lot of moving pieces that go into building a website, securing your URL, getting a hosting package, choosing a theme, the list goes on. Lucky for us, HostGator.com is your one-stop destination for all website and hosting needs. Whether you already have a website or you need to build one from scratch, HostGator is key to helping you get your online presence started. Their award-winning 24/7, 365 support via live chat, telephone, and email is unparalleled in the hosting world. They're there for you. Plus, they've just raised the bar by introducing their brand new optimized WordPress hosting plans. Get started with HostGator today by using promo code FIRE and the number 30. Just visit HostGator.com, enter promo code FIRE and the number 30 today. Jay, are you prepared for the lightning rounds?
I absolutely am.
What was holding you back from becoming an entrepreneur?
Fear.
What is the best advice you've ever received?
Say less to more people.
What is a personal habit that you believe contributes to your success?
Journaling.
Do you have an internet resource like an Evernote that you can share with our listeners?
2, intercom.io. And I gotta let everybody know about Molly Pittman and Russ Hindenberry over at Digital Marketer and DM Lab because they are awesome.
If you could recommend just one book for our listeners, what would it be and why?
The Bible. Best business book on the planet.
Well, Fire Nation, I know you love audio, so I teamed up with audiobooks. And if you haven't already, you can get an amazing audiobook for free at eofirebook.com. And Jay, this is the last question of the lightning round, but it's a doozy. Imagine you woke up tomorrow morning in a brand new world, identical to Earth, but you knew no one. You still have all the experience and knowledge you currently have, your food and shelter taken care of, but all you have is a laptop and $500. What would you do in the next 7 days?
Awesome. I'm going to go to Starbucks. That's going to be about $8 right there. And then I'm going to get a newspaper. And what I'm going to do is inside the newspaper, remember this, where there's chaos, there's cash flow. The newspaper comes to you and it's only $2, best lead generator on the planet. I'm then going to make a meetup or a networking event of some kind and begin to hold cash flow games and invite people to them. And I'm going to go to other networking groups as well. That's going to cost me about $50 a year. Then I'm going to buy a couple of cash flow board games myself. I'm then going to get over to Kinko's, get some flyers printed, start a Facebook fan page, WordPress blog with Aweber so that I can make sure I can communicate to people because I've only got $500 and I've got to be on a budget. Then I'm going to spend the rest on Facebook ads to make sure that enough people show up. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to survey the marketplace, find out their problems, specifically as they relate to real estate. And I'm going to go buy a property within that 7-day period. I'm going to make some offers. I'm going to get the deal closed and I'm going to find someone so that I can begin to build everything that I've already done over and faster than I did it the first time.
Jay, you might be the best implementer in the world.
I think so.
Well, let's end it today on fire with you sharing one parting piece of guidance, the best way that we can connect with you, and then we'll say goodbye.
The one thing I will say is that everything that you're currently experiencing, it was there and it's put there to help you become great. There is greatness inside of you. You haven't given it a shot. Today is the day. Make it happen. If you want to find out more about me and what we're doing, you can go over to cashflowdiarypodcast.com. But if you'd really rather know the entire story and get some basic techniques on beginning to build your business, I'm going to give you a free copy of my book, free electronic copy. You can go over to cashflowdiary.com/free book. There you go.
Fire Nation, you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, and you've been hanging out with Jay and JLD today. So keep up the heat and head over to eofire.com. Just type in Massey, Massey, and you'll be off to the races on the show notes page where there'll be links to everything that we've talked about, the books, the resources, his free book for you at cashflowdiary.com/free book. Don't forget to check out the podcast, cashflowdiarypodcast.com. Boom. And Jay, I want to thank you for sharing your journey with Fire Nation today. For that, we salute you. and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Thank you.
Fire Nation, thank you for joining us on Entrepreneur on Fire. Visit eofire.com for links to...
Well, what did you think? I don't know. Did you learn something different? Did you hear me say something in a different way than what we normally talk about? I hope so. Because here's one of the things that I've learned. If you've ever watched a movie, read a book, or somehow experienced something more than once, and then were surprised by the fact that, man, was that there all the time? If you've ever said that to yourself, the difference between the first time you saw it and the second obviously isn't the movie, it isn't the book. The difference is you. My hope is, well, you're a little different than the last time you heard what you just heard. If that's the case, then you got something new. If not, then you know what you need to do. You need to become someone different. It's been fun talking to you guys today. I look forward to talking to you soon. Until next time.